Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Who's out there in the Raider Nation? Who's going to do my check and tell me I'm good? That's what we got to do every day. We got to get the first guy to see me or gal to see me to hit the mic check and tell me that they can hear me. Because if not, then I have to do tech support, which I'm not good at. So let's make sure you hear me. I sound good. Got the brick backdrop. Got everything going today. Yes, it sounds good. At least I have tech support. Yeah, I'm doing it from my home, Bobby, and I have tech support here. I did not. What did it say? No one can hear us on YouTube, so you can tell me down the line. Go ahead. Okay. All right. How's everybody doing in the chat? Everybody good? Again, remember the goal here every day is to put in the chat what you want me to talk about here in the open. I'm going to talk about a new mock draft, so you get to hear it before the radio audience. Lance Zierlein has his mock draft, and it's not good for the Raiders. It's not good. It's not bad, but it's not what you want in the Raider Nation. So that's what I'm going to lead with. And also, who watched Caitlyn Clark last night? Who watched Caitlyn Clark and watched that Iowa victory? I thought that game was unbelievable. I'll be talking about that today, too. Plus, I'm going to the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. They play the Canucks, right, Bobby? The Canucks, which is a big game, 7 o'clock. Oh, and name drop alert. I'm having lunch today with George Atkinson, which I'm excited about. Right after the show, 2:30, I'm going to meet George Atkinson for lunch. We will have a couple of beverages, and then I'll go to the hockey game tonight. Good night. Tomorrow's my wife's birthday. How about that? Gate JT with you on a big day today, on a gorgeous day. Nice weather, beautiful day. It's noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern, which is the beginning of evening drive on the East Coast where the Raider Nation listens to this show on the Raiders mobile app. You can get us on Raider Nation Radio, wherever you're listening. Thanks for listening today. I got a busy day today. I'm excited about today. I wake up every day normally energized to start the day. Wake up before the stock market at 6:30 to check the portfolio. Imagine doing this your whole career and not having a little bit of an investment, to have a little skin in the game. Not doing this for free, man. Not doing this with khakis and a hat on backwards. And then my day begins, a beautiful walk with the dog. My wife's birthday tomorrow. How about that? My wife's actual birthday tomorrow, which we're going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate. And today I'm having lunch with George Atkinson. How cool is that? Number 43, one of the greatest Raiders and most influential Raiders and loyal Raiders, and one of Mark Davis's best friends. I'm going to have lunch with George today, and I'm going to kill about an hour or two and head into the Golden Knights game with one of my buddies. That sounds like a great day, and I can't wait. So I'm going into T-Mobile for VGK playing Vancouver. Wow, Vancouver's been better than the Golden Knights, but they don't have a ring. They don't have a Stanley Cup ring last year. We in Vegas have the ring, so I'm going to go watch the reigning Stanley Cup champs live tonight at T-Mobile, playing a team ahead of them by a lot in the Vancouver Canucks. Hope everybody's having a good day today. As we jump in, we're live on YouTube. JT the Brick YT, and we're getting to a certain number that I'm starting to be excited about. So you can get a preview of the show before I start on the radio every day when we do stream. And we're going to stream most of the days on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. Please subscribe, share, like, do all that, which is what they do on YouTube here. I got a lot to get to here. So what we've decided to do here during the off season is two things. I promised you every day I'd get you an NFL insider. Hacksaw is going to join us today, one of the smartest men in radio history, an encyclopedia of Raider history, because he's anti-Raiders. Why do I put him on the radio? Because he respects the Raiders, but he doesn't appreciate the Raiders at times, but he's smarter than me. And he was the voice of the Chargers, and he's the franchise. He's the first guy I ever called on the radio, and he's really sharp. And I want to hear about the Raider draft, because the Chargers are at 5, Denver's at 12, the Raiders are at 13. Everybody get that? And Kansas City won the Super Bowl, if you forgot. That's the AFC West. I'm going to talk to sharp people in the AFC West every day I can. So that's one thing we're going to start off with. Also, Max Starks is going to join us, two-time Super Bowl champ from Pittsburgh. I do some work with him on SiriusXM from time to time. I want to add a former player in, as I said, and we're just trying to get a lot of draft guys in. So I reached out to the NFL Network. They got back to me with 3 or 4 confirmations on some really good NFL insiders, and then I reached out to my bosses at the Raiders, who have also are going to give us 4 or 5 NFL insiders. So I'm locked and loaded till the day I anchor the draft coming up here on that Thursday night. We got some good things happening on that. So there's 2 things I want to hit on today in the first hour. Start dialing now, 702-365-9200. By this time of day, you know what you want to talk about. I want to see you come in here because I'm going to split the show into 2 big topics. Number 1 is Caitlyn Clark. Sorry, Raider fans, that's where I'm going. Caitlyn Clark put on a show last night and outdrew the entire NBA and all of Major League Baseball. A young girl from Iowa put on a show last night in Albany, New York, that I'll talk and dive into most next hour. And I think they're saying 7.5 million fans there. 1 million watched the Denver Nuggets, the reigning NBA champs. She outdrew the Nuggets times 7. She did. LSU is the reigning champs. Everybody tuned into Caitlyn Clark last night. And I was very lucky to be on the radio for the 4 hours to watch it all. So I got a lot to say on this mostly about fans who get a chance to go see greatness. You only get a chance to do that a number of times in your life. The amount of fans in New York who were not Iowa fans, who traveled to see Caitlyn Clark play, when they went in the building, they were Iowa fans. They didn't go in there neutral. My nephew went. There was 95% of the fans, 95% were rooting for Iowa. Does that mean Iowa sent a bus or 3 flights out there? No. It was just fans from Syracuse and Buffalo and Long Island and New York City that said, I want to go see Caitlyn Clark. I want to see this phenomenon. And they drove up there and they rooted for her because they thought LSU, the reigning champs, a little bit cocky. Angel Reese flashing her hand over her face, showing her ring finger. Tim Mulkey dressing up, getting wild there as a coach. They were the villain. Iowa was pretty much the good guy going into the game, and they won. So if you watched the game last night, it's a really specific topic for Raider fans and everybody else. As a man, and we want to hear from women, but as a man, did you tune in to watch that? Did you say, I'm dropping everything and I'm going to watch a women's college basketball game? Because we have the Aces here in town. Mark Davis has the back-to-back world champion Aces here. And the numbers that they drew last night compared to the NBA and the WNBA is staggering for this young girl out of Iowa. It's very rare when this happens in sports, man. It is very rare when this happens. And it happened last night. So I want to know from the men who are listening, because I know women love women's basketball, but did you guys out there end up watching the game? And when you were intrigued by it, Chris from West Oakland called the show, the national show last night, and it went off. Doesn't like it, doesn't think it's entertaining. I had 9 calls come in and come after Chris after what he said. I mean, last night was the perfect storm. So that got a big rating. A lot of people watched it. It was a hell of a game. There was drama. It was a rivalry, even though it's not a natural rivalry, a rivalry game with Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese and all that. So let's start off with with the Caitlyn Clark three. She had 9 3-pointers in the game, tying the tournament record. She was deadly from outside. That's Westwood one on the call. So we saw that game last night. I'll just lead with that. I'm going to dive more into that next hour, and we're going to figure out how to put the show together today. It's kind of a work in progress today as we got the Golden Knights. Got a lot happening here, and I want to lead with the Raiders and what the Raiders are going to do or what we're thinking that's going to happen here in the draft. But the Caitlyn Clark thing was big. My son worked late last night. He came in. My wife, my son, and I sat on the couch and talked about Caitlyn Clark for an hour. For an hour. And it's pretty incredible. And again, my nephew and brother-in-law went from that area, and they said it was one of the best nights they had. Women's college basketball, the topic is it blew the doors off of the NBA and Major League Baseball tonight. Do you know how many people watch Caitlyn Clark compared to the Oakland A's or the Detroit Tigers or the Denver Nuggets? It's just fascinating to me. There's going to be a bigger audience with the men now with the Final Four with the men, but I don't know. I mean, is there a chance that Caitlyn Clark, if she gets to the national championship game, can outdraw the men? And UConn, if it's Zach Edey? No, I don't think so. But it's worth bringing up, man. It is just a big deal. She started off hitting a three, and she never looked back. As Adam says in the chat, you're right. And she started the second half knocking down a three. Wouldn't it be amazing if Mark Davis can trade and get her number one? I mean, it seems like the Vegas. As we look at our Las Vegas Aces, they're playing chess and everybody's playing checkers. And Mark's got the best basketball facility in the world for women. No debate. No debate. He's the most generous owner in the WNBA. Not even close. How cool would it be if Caitlyn Clark played Vegas? There would be lines around the Michelob Ultra Arena. If Caitlyn Clark, and we got the world champs here. Can you imagine if she comes here? There'll be lines over the Hacienda Bridge if she comes here. And she's going to play in the league, get drafted by the worst team, and probably have a really good career. So I wanted to open up with that if you got something to say. Remember, we're a sports talk show. We like to talk sports in the Raider offseason. Yes, this is the offseason, but we want to hear from you, 702-365-9200. So Lance Zierlein from NFL.com is a really good draft analyst. As a matter of fact, this is what he does. He's a draft analyst, more so than a reporter that's going to go in the locker room and cover a story. He's going to break down the draft. So he came out today with the Lance Zierlein mock draft 3.0. So all these guys at NFL Network and the other outlets for mock drafts, they come out with their first mock draft. Then they have their second. Mel Kiper made this famous. Then they have their third. And then I think Daniel Jeremiah will have his final 4.0, and that will be his mock draft that he'll put up. The problem with the mock drafts is, there's going to be trades. So you got to guess where you're going to put in a trade. This year, it seems easier to me to predict a trade than it has been in the past. That's just for me. And then once one of the picks you have in the mock draft go the wrong way, it blows up the rest of your mock draft. Like if you have Marvin Harrison number 4 and he goes number 5, then you got your 5th pick wrong. You might have got your 6th. You might get it back on track with 7. It just gets off the rails. But we like doing mock drafts. We got a lot of fantasy geeks out there. We have a lot of gamblers. We have a lot of people like me, sports talk hosts, that look for that content. And the way that I cover the draft is just the first round. All I'm interested in is the first round. Whoever they take in the 3rd or 4th, we have no idea. Let me know who you take. I'll read the bio. I'll introduce the guy, and we'll talk about it when he gets here. I'm not guessing who's going to be a Raider 6th-round draft pick. That, to me, is terrible radio, terrible guessing. We want to kind of focus this thing here to the end of April. So I couldn't wait for this to open. It was like a Christmas gift. Oh, my God, Lance Zierlein. I like him a lot. We're going to have him on, I think, next week. Who does he got? Number 1, he's got Caleb Williams. No surprise. Number 2, oh, no. Jaden Daniels, the guy we want who hangs out at the cigar party, goes back with Antonio Pierce to ASU. I want him. I want to trade up to get him. And Zierlein says, Cliff Kingsbury helped Johnny Manziel win the Heisman Trophy in 12 as offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, talks about Kyler Murray, who he coached, and how he could see Cliff Kingsbury now breaking in Jaden Daniels with the way he did other great quarterbacks, and it's a perfect fit. I tend to agree with him on that. I think the Commanders have to choose between Drake May and Jaden Daniels. I like Jaden Daniels more right now because I think he's more mobile. I think he can run a touchdown in from 30 yards out. Just like we saw that little guy, Kyler Murray, do it and beat us in Las Vegas and really hurt us when he ran in on a play that took about 20 seconds. I like quarterbacks that can run for touchdowns, not run for first downs. I like quarterbacks that can run for touchdowns from 30 yards out. Name me the ones who do it. Justin Herbert can't do it. Joe Burrow can't do it. Who can do it? A handful of guys. Kirk Cousins can't do it. Tell you who can, Caleb Williams. I can tell you for a fact Jaden Daniels can. I can promise you, and you know Kyler Murray, I just mentioned, he can do it. And the great Patrick Mahomes, our nemesis, can do it. We got to get one of those guys if we can eventually. So Zance Zerline has the Commanders' Jaden Daniels 3. Now, here's where he got my attention in his mock draft. At number 3, he has the Giants trading up from 6. The Giants trade up from 6 to 3 to get Drake May. Brian Daboll fostered Josh Allen's raw talent in Buffalo and could have a chance to do it again. So Zance Zerline has the Giants at 6, moving up to 3, and that's where Drake May goes. At number 4, oh no, another guy I want, J.J. McCarthy. Every bleeping guy with a mock draft has the Minnesota Vikings, only the Minnesota Vikings. Why not the Las Vegas Raiders? Why not us? J.J. McCarthy, number 4 to the Minnesota Vikings. So, as I predicted a week or so ago, from Daniel Jeremiah, now to Lance Zerline, I believe the first 4 picks in the NFL draft, like these gentlemen, are going to be quarterback. Oh, no, we need a quarterback. We'd like one. They're all gone by number 5. This is where I'm not a conspiracy theory guy in life. Don't come at me with 9/11 or airplanes or Amelia Earhart. I hate it. But in sports, I'll do a little conspiracy theory. At number 5, the Chargers get Marvin Harrison Jr. This is a big conspiracy theory to me for one reason. I can connect the dots to see what Jim Harbaugh did at the NFL owners meeting at his little breakfast nook, because there's not a lot of Charger reporters, right? Not a lot of Charger insiders. There's not even a lot of Charger fans. But Jim Harbaugh told us at the breakfast nook, oh, well, you know, J.J. McCarthy had the greatest pro day of all time. He's the best quarterback coming out in the draft. Oh, really, Jim? Why are you doing that, Jim? Oh, is that because you want Marvin Harrison to be available at number 5? Yes. I believe in the Harbaugh conspiracy theory. He's trying to work the whole league to go get J.J. McCarthy in the top 4. So, follow me here. Harbaugh, in his first ever draft, is going to get Marvin Harrison Jr., the son of Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison, and Harbaugh now has an elite wide receiver with Justin Herbert. Get ready, because that looks like it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to be able to trade with the Chargers for obvious reasons, just getting Tom Telesco, and not crazy if things have happened. At number 6, remember the trade was with the Giants. At number 6, New England gets Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver junior out of LSU. So I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think the Patriots are going to trade from 3 to 6 because the Patriots need a quarterback. Why would they do that? The Patriot fans had Tom Brady. Bill Belichick's gone. Do you think Gerard Mayo is going to be that stupid not to get Jaden Daniels or Drake May at number 3? But I continue with this one. Number 7, Tennessee takes Joe Alt. If the Raiders got Joe Alt, they'd have Colt Miller and Joe Alt forever. That would be the beginning of an elite offensive line. I love Joe Alt. He's the can't-miss junior eligible out of Notre Dame. At number 8, Atlanta goes with Jared Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State, who's climbing up the board. Number 9, everybody has. Caleb Williams 1 to Chicago. Number 9 to Chicago, Rome Odunze, who played down the block from me at Bishop Gorman. Played at Bishop Gorman, watched him play all his high school games. He's great. Rome Odunze and other drafts would have went top 4. Now he's going to go number 9. Number 10, the Jets take Brock Bowers. We're getting to the Raiders. Number 11, the Cardinals, as they traded back, takes Dallas Turner, the edge rusher out of Alabama. Number 12, Denver gets Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback from Toledo. Remember, Raider Nation might want a corner. Hearing it whispered in hushed tones, maybe a corner. And at number 13, the Las Vegas Raiders select Alabama offensive tackle J.C. Latham as he comes to the Raiders, a starting offensive tackle. But then again, JT the Brick was told that Alex Leatherwood, the two-time national champion at the Outland Trophy winner from Alabama, was going to be a starter here, and the guy couldn't even get off the practice squad. The guy couldn't barely suit up. So we're going to go down another Alabama tackle if we get J.C. Latham. I think he's pretty good there. And there's some other tackles that are available. So here's what irks me today. Lance Zierlein, who's pretty good, doesn't see a path for the Raiders to trade up and get a quarterback, but he sees a path for the Giants and the Vikings to do it. That's interesting. How come we don't have a chance to trade up and these mock draft guys don't think we're going to trade up and do it? Well, I think they think it's too costly. It's probably it is Tom Telesco's first ever draft. And the Raiders believe at this point, standing pat is the way to go on the mock drafts, not the Raiders. And every draft I'm seeing now is having Michael Penix Jr. at 13 to the Raiders. So we did Michael Penix Jr. yesterday. We don't have to do it again. I'll just say this if you didn't hear the show yesterday or stream us on YouTube. The value, we know what the value is at 13. If someone great falls to the Raiders at 13 that the Raiders have in the top 5, Raiders should take them. Other than a wide receiver. There's 3 wide receivers who are going. 3 before the Raiders pick at 13. I wouldn't take a wide receiver this year. I wouldn't because of Devontae Adams, Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, and I'm treating Michael Mayer as a receiver. Did everybody hear that again? Clip that and post it on the internet. I don't look at Michael Mayer anymore as a tight end. Sorry. To me, he's a receiver. I need 80 receptions. I need 85 receptions. I need a Darren Waller 100 reception. I am categorizing the starting tight end, Michael Mayer, as a receiver because I need receiver stats out of him. As a tight end, I need him to play as a receiver. I need some Todd Christensen out of him. The guy's wide open. No one can guard him. He's single covered on every play. So right there, I named you 4 receivers. 4. Raiders will have 6 on the team. I don't talk about practice squad players on the show unless they get called up to the big boys, to the big team. We already got 4 guys that can catch the ball. We didn't even throw it to Hunter Renfrow. We had Hunter Renfrow. We didn't even throw him the ball. We didn't even put him out on the field. We had Hunter Renfrow. So I need a focus on receiver with the guys we got. They're pretty good. We got 2 running backs who are starters. They're good. We picked up another tight end who we can play. We're good. Okay, we're good. Depth at wide receiver or tight end, talk to me in the 6th, 7th round or undrafted free agent. So that's where I'm opening up. Lance Zierlein really got my attention today with his mock draft because I believe in this new little Harbaugh conspiracy. Harbaugh is sending out smoke signals. He's telling everybody that McCarthy's great. Go get him before I pick at number 5. Because if McCarthy shouldn't be picked in the top 3 or 4, he shouldn't. He's kind of a project, even though he's a good player. But he won the national championship. He's got Jim Harbaugh as his champion, selling tickets to his pro day. And Harbaugh wants Marvin Harrison Jr. to drop to him. And I think Harbaugh is doing a good job because a lot of these draft guys are buying into all of this. 702-365-9200. What do you think? What do you think overall what's going on? And, I want your opinion on what you think's happening overall here with this new Harbaugh theory that we have now. Does it make any sense to you that Harbaugh is selling J.J. McCarthy? Because I want J.J. McCarthy if we can't get Jaden Daniels. If we can't get Jaden Daniels, I want J.J. McCarthy, and I'll take Michael Penix Jr. So that's where we're at as we open up the show. Again, I got more people in the chat than on the calls. So every day I come in here wondering where the hell everybody is on the Raiders. They must be in my YouTube chat. I got 40 people there blowing me up here. And people now, Raider fans, I gave you 2 topics today, plus a sprinkling of Golden Knights. I'm doing the Raider draft, if you have an opinion on that. I'm doing Caitlyn Clark as another side of the story there. That's what I got today. Don't got a lot of filler. I got some hardcore sports talk today on the Raiders and Caitlyn Clark. You can partake any way you'd like. I get 2 hours today on this platform every day. I'd like to take advantage of it and use some Raider fans with some opinions going forward on what's going to happen. So that's the monologue. It's brought to you, as always, PT's best happy hour in town. That's 5 to 7 and midnight to 2. Jump in there. Let me know what you think about that. You'll love the happy hour. They're a proud partner, not only of this show, but the Vegas Golden Knights. If you're going to the Golden Knights tonight, let me know. Let me know. Maybe we can have a beverage and be there. I got some good seats tonight. I won't be up high in the press box, which I value. Love the credential and the way they treat me there. But tonight, going in as a fan, and I'm locked into this hockey game. Okay? I'm locked into this hockey game. We got a hockey team in town that won the Stanley Cup, and this place is asleep every bleeping moment on hockey with the media. TV does a great job with the media. Ryan on our sister station does it else. We got other companies in town, Odyssey, iHeart, this, that. None of them even cover the hockey team. What a pathetic joke that in Las Vegas, the sports and entertainment capital of the world, there's one radio station, ours, that have the flagship rights on our Fox Sports station. We got a couple of hours a day here. Everybody sits around like a zombie and doesn't talk about this hockey team other than me. Let's get the thing rolling and get hockey fans fired up about this. And we'll get it rolling here. I'm pumped up. I got a good day lined up. Hopefully you do too. Hardcore Raider has been my leadoff guy for a while. I got to get you something, man. I got to get you a bucket of Modelo's or something. Thanks for supporting the show. What's happening? Start us off. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm at the bottom. I got to go. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for starting us off. I really appreciate your call starting us off. Leadoff hitters mean a lot to me. The number 2 caller, 3, 4, 5. We're only going to take 4 or 5 a day, 9 or 10 when we're really rolling here when the season's going. So jump on in like hardcore Raider. I don't care if the Raiders have to reach and give up multiple picks. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what the Raiders do other than making sure they make a strong decision between Tom Telesco, Mark Davis, and Antonio Pierce. We all know that Jaden Daniels is hot. The Raiders like him a lot. The Raiders giving a smokescreen. If I was hosting a show, not on Raider Nation Radio, but on Denver Radio or Cardinal Radio or the Giants Radio Network now, I'd have someone like me on the show. Maybe the Raiders are giving a smoke screen for Jaden Daniels, making everybody think the Raiders automatically are going to trade up. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. But this year I'm excited because I can see the franchise quarterback right in front of me. I can see it with J.J. McCarthy. I can see it with Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels. He's right there, and we're at 13. The question is, how expensive is it going to be? And then Michael Penix Jr. comes along, and I don't know if he's worth number 13. Ideally, we'd like to be sitting around in the 3rd round, and no one takes Michael Penix in the 3rd round, and he falls to the Raiders. We all know that's not going to happen. And I don't think the Raiders should trade back to get Michael Penix Jr., because if the Raiders trade from 13 to 18 And then all of a sudden, Denver gets the player they want at 12, and he's not Michael Penix. And then Denver, behind the Raiders' back, trades back ahead of the Raiders and gets a player there with all of that. With all that happening here, you're going to see the Raiders potentially losing a quarterback because they didn't want to go up and they decided to go back and they lost both ways. That's why we have Tom Telesco and Tom we trust. Tom's done it. He's done first round big time players. He's scouted them all. He knows them all. He knows their value. That's what. I don't know what Tom Telesco thinks it's worth to go get Jaden Daniels. Is it 2 number ones plus a 3 and a 4? No idea. Is it 3 number ones? Is it 2 number ones and a player? No idea. He's got it. He'll have it figured out. I can promise you. All right, we're off to the races. Max starts Hacksaw at the top of next hour. And I want to get into Caitlyn Clark. Come on, guys. Did anybody watch Caitlyn Clark play last night? How important was that for women's sports and for television and men who tune in from time to time? I thought it was great. I'm going to be talking about it tonight. JT at home again in Vegas with the brick drop behind me on YouTube. JT the Brick YT. Please sign up for YouTube and keep listening to the flagship of the Raiders. Hey, what's Q saying about what's going on with the problem now? Oh, okay, now. All right. Give me a minute, guys. Hold on. Bricklink 4. Okay, how's that sound? Okay, what was the issue? I've never been on anything other than 3. What happened? Okay, all right. So is this okay? Good. Get on this chat. Hold on. So yeah, that's the monologue, man. Appreciate you being here. I just think this Harbaugh smokescreen is something big that we're talking about. Really big what we're talking about. And I haven't figured it out yet, but I think Harbaugh's playing cat and mouse, and Harbaugh's the cat trying to get everybody to go get J.J. McCarthy because he can't get him. Now, look, if Harbaugh didn't have Justin Herbert, Raiders don't have Justin Herbert, then I think Harbaugh would be doing the opposite thing to get J.J. McCarthy to land at number 5, but he can't get him. Since that auto is expanded by the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. 23 miles or 12,000 square feet. Since that is yeah, vulnerability problem. Since that diagnostic. Yeah, I think the YouTube page, we're getting close to 3,000 subscribers in 2 months, a little over 2 months without doing it every day. Normally I do a chat tonight. Got a cold, man. Keep rubbing my nose. I got a cold. Tripp says Aiden will be wearing a gold jacket after he retires. Mark my words. That's pretty bold. Adam says, whatever, we can't lose out on quarterback this year. Well, we didn't lose out on a quarterback. We got a guy by the name of Gardner Minshew. We got Gardner Minshew, who's going to play better than any young quarterback. He's there. Look, if we didn't get Gardner Minshew, then we'd have a big problem. We'd have Aiden O'Connell and nobody. We got Gardner Minshew now, who's a pretty good player. I said that long before he was a Raider. He's a good player. Is he a Hall of Famer? No. But he's a good player. All right, that's Jim Harbaugh, and I call it the Harbaugh smoke screen as he wants to get Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's pushing J.J. McCarthy up to the top. Where do you think Raider Nation, because Hacksaw is going to join us at the top of the hour, he's got some Charger roots. Where do you think Harbaugh plays in this? Because I have a specific, we're going to talk Caitlyn Clark in Iowa and all that today, but I have a specific call to action for Raider fans. How concerned, and that's the word, we don't worry. Raiders don't worry. We don't fret. We don't get scared. But how concerned are you that the Chargers and the Broncos can do something to get in front of the Raiders with the draft? The Broncos are already ahead of the Raiders at 12. They have the 12th pick. And then remember, if we lost to the Broncos the last game of the year, we'd be ahead of them. But I like the fact that we swept the Broncos and won eight in a row. I go to games to win games, not to lose on purpose and go from the 13th to 11th pick. And we'd still have the same problem here. So the Raiders, and very interesting because I've talked to a couple of friends about it and one at the gala. The Raiders won 8 games with a bunch of quarterback problems, man, last year. Aiden played well, but there were some games, that he didn't play well. We lost 3-0 to Minnesota. Ended up firing Josh McDaniels. Brian Hoyer didn't work out. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't work out. We won 8 games. Where would this team be with a franchise quarterback who's already been in the league 2 or 3 years like Brock Purdy? And I think what drives a lot of Raider fans crazy is Brock Purdy because he was Mr. Irrelevant in the 7th round. And then all of a sudden, look at him. He's got the Niners on the verge of going to the Super Bowl every year because they don't have to pay him and they can pay their other players. So it is complicated right now. If I was a brand new GM, and Tom Telesco is not a brand new GM, a lot of these GMs are brand new. Right? They never were a GM. They're hotshot scouts. They're assistant GMs, and then boom, they get their first job as a GM. Well, Dave Ziegler was that guy. Dave Ziegler's first ever draft as a GM. He gave up his 1st and 2nd round pick to get Devontae. I like that move. I really did. Does Tom Telesco, he's been in the league longer, he's been around much longer, does he want to go out there and make a decision to give up his first ever draft wearing his silver suit and black tie and go, I'm not going to have a draft for 2 more years. For the next 2 years, I'm going to be sitting here picking in the 3rd round because I gave up draft picks for the 2024 draft. Don't know. That this would be the draft to think about it because the quarterbacks are really high and they're going there. Still can't believe what's going on with the cornerback, what's happening with the Kansas City Chiefs. With Rashee Rice in that car accident. Cannot believe that they're not tracking him down and there's not more to that story here. There's not more to the story here. There was a deal today, the source says Carson Wentz has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Chiefs. I like Carson Wentz, man. I liked him a couple of years ago. Big, strong quarterback, had success. And if you don't play well early, remember Josh Rosen? Came out, hot shot out of UCLA. You don't play well. Sam Darnold, you don't play well your first 2 years, you become a backup. Carson Wentz is still young. He's strong. He's healthy. And if Mahomes goes down to a turf toe or gets hit, Carson Wentz is a hell of a player. Carson Wentz is going to come in there and play. I like him better than the backups that we're seeing for Denver and the Chargers here. So that's a move today as Kansas City is really interesting now. Kansas City, it seems like everybody wants to go play there no matter what the price is. Speaking of Brock Purdy, he banked $739,000 in NFL performance-based pay. That's good because he was getting nothing. He's going to have to wait till next offseason to get his first big contract, but he earned a nice check yesterday. This year, the NFL compensated players an additional $393 million in performance-based on their play. The program compensates players based on their playing time and salary levels with the intent to give additional money to players who performed beyond their contracts. I thought that was really cool. That's something I like about the league now because a lot of these young players are not going to get paid at all. They're not going to get paid at all, and they'll have an opportunity to make a little bit of extra money on the side. 702-365-9200. JB10 says, come on, Carson Wentz isn't a bum. No. Don't call quarterbacks in the NFL a bum. I don't call people in my chat a bum. Okay? Wentz is good. He's been injured. He lost his job to an injury. And he's not getting a starting position. You go to the Washington Commanders and see how your career does after that. But I think Wentz is one of the premier backup quarterbacks in the league now. Nash is in Houston tonight on the Raiders mobile app. What's going on, Nash? Thank you. Uh, Oh, why can't hold on a second? Why can't you comp JJ McCarthy with Derek Carr or Drew Brees or Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson, roughly the same size. I think McCarthy might be exactly the same size. He went in the third round out of Wisconsin after the NC State transfer, third round. Russell Wilson didn't win a championship. Derek Carr didn't win a championship. Drew Brees didn't get a sniff of a national championship. I think you compare J.J. McCarthy talent-wise to those guys. But you make a good point. That was a running team. Michigan had the best offensive line in football. Their strength was running the football and setting up play action and some conservative passing plays. I agree with that. Okay. No, no. Thanks for the call and the call for those who are listening on YouTube. Would I take Bo Nix in the first round? No, I wouldn't. But there are some people up in the Pacific Northwest that think that Bo Nix is better than Michael Penix. I saw him play live together at Allegiant Stadium. I watched that game closely. Antonio Pierce was there. Yeah, I just think Penix has a much higher ceiling than Bo Nix. But if the Raiders can't get Michael Penix at 13, nor if they don't want him, because they're good with Gardner Minshew and they take, a starting right tackle there, and then it's the 23rd pick in the first round and Bo Nix isn't taken, and the Raiders are sitting there going, man, we worked out Bo Nix and he's good, he's tough, and he's played a lot, and we like him, and the Raiders want to take him in the second round or trade up. Okay. Again, we're here just to give opinions on what's going to happen here overall. What is the opinion on what's going to happen next? My opinion is get the quarterback in the first round. Get the quarterback in the first round if you can. If not, I'm not interested in it. If Spencer Rattler falls to the Raiders, he's going to be the franchise quarterback down the road. I can promise you that. If Spencer Rattler gets drafted in the third round by the Raiders, I can promise you he will be parked and developed into the future franchise quarterback of the Raiders because they took him for a reason. I wouldn't take Spencer Rattler in the third round. We got Aiden O'Connell last year in the fourth round. Aiden seems to be pretty good, and we got Gardner Minshew. So it's complicated. As I told you, this is complicated. Rattler's a good player, a really good player. He came out of high school better than Penix and Bo Nix, I can promise you, because I followed that recruiting because he went to Oklahoma. Very interesting to see what happens here and how this plays out. So we got Hacksaw coming up at the top of the hour. I think I'm going to move Max starts to tomorrow because he's texting me back with a time constraint here. So maybe we'll do that. And then more on 40 minutes into the show. No one's called in on Caitlyn Clark. No one's called in on that. I thought that'd be big today. I've been wrong a lot lately in this time slot, man. God, I thought we could talk sports here. Caitlyn Clark. I'm going to get shut out, Bobby, on Caitlyn Clark in the first hour after one of the great performances we've seen in women's college basketball history or the most ever seen. So I'm going to keep pounding away at that because it's my show and I know what I want to do. And we're going to do that today and talk Raiders draft right here on the flagship. Yeah, I'd rather take us to the top of the hour and then go to Hacksaw. Yeah, don't you think? Yeah, these phone calls have absolutely sucked lately. I guess it's harder to call my show because you're not gonna get a T-shirt. 702. What sound do we have that? Let me double check on that. What you want to come out with? And for those who are asking me, I see it here. Bomb Salat says, "Do I think that Gardner Minshew could be the next Jake the Snake Plumber?" Yeah, I mean, Jake the Snake Plumber was pretty good for a couple of years. I think Gardner Minshew could be Rich Gannon. I mean, I never thought Rich Gannon was going to turn out to be an MVP and play in two AFC championship games and a Super Bowl when he came to the Raiders. And he turned out to be a Raider legend. So I can see this happening with Gardner Minshew. But Gardner Minshew's got to beat out Aiden O'Connell first. And that's going to be a topic that we have this summer. Yeah, Michael, you're not going to hear anything other than me because we can't tie when I'm at home. We can't tie the commercials in. I got to explain this to everybody all the time. YouTube is not going to take our commercials for the Strat. They're not going to take it for Remy Martin because that's additional clearance for those customers that I have on my show on YouTube. And my customers don't pay YouTube. So YouTube's not going to allow that and they'll shut me down. So we got to figure out the software or how to get the callers in, but not the advertising. That's kind of a pain in the ass. A lot of radio shows that stream live, like McAfee and all that, they have that already cleared. We don't have that cleared here on Raider Nation Radio. Yeah, so that's the Tuesday sound, dude. Hold on, let me get to the rundown. Here we go. Say Iowa, Clark. Um, okay, good, thanks. We're gonna have one of these bad boys, man. Throat lodge and hey, I was asked to chat. What are you watching on TV? I watched the Steve Martin documentary, Steve, last night. The first two-part documentary, part one, freaking crazy. The guy went from being a magician at Disney World, Disneyland, to being the number one comedian of all time. When he walked off the stage in 1980, the number one comedian of all time, not even close when it came to concerts. He sold out football stadiums, not arenas, football stadiums. So I'd highly recommend watching that. Part two wasn't as good. It kind of talked about his later part of life, which is interesting. But the guy left the business in 1980 and never did stand up again. That's what blew me away. It's Caitlyn Clark, JT, back with you as we continue on. Tequila Commissario, the Ferrari of tequilas, the Maloofs, and their partnership brought it here to Vegas. It's winning all of these awards. You can go to tequilacommissario.com. It's one of the slickest websites I've ever seen, and they have all their awards and medals that are there. I think it'll change your life if you're a tequila drinker. Tequila Commissario, proud partner of our show as we continue on here. So that was Caitlyn Clark. I'm going to dive into that after Hacksaw at the top of the hour. I'm actually going to bring that up with him too. That experience of watching her play yesterday, my big takeaway is that she didn't play at home. They didn't play in Iowa. They played in Albany, New York. I'm from New York. It's a capital in New York, but it's not a hybrid spot. It's not a unique, unbelievable spot for basketball. But a lot of fans drove in to see a phenomenon. They said, I'm going to get in my car and get tickets and drive 2, 3, 4, 90 minutes to go see her. And everybody who did walked out of there. Dave Portnoy, who made all that Barstool money, couldn't believe it. All Jason Sudeikis behind the bench. I mean, all the people that were wearing Iowa jerseys who weren't from Iowa. That's how you know when you're a unique athlete. It rarely happens in sports. It doesn't. We're going to see it now with the Swifties. All the Swifties are wearing Travis Kelce jerseys. Oh, my God, I can't believe I brought up the Swifties again. But that's very rare. Very rare when someone new can come in and move the needle in sports. Right? Taylor Swift was able to do it as an artist, as a musician, not a player. Who benefited from that? Well, the NFL, obviously, but mostly the Kansas City Chiefs. Imagine the amount of revenue that Taylor Swift brought in to Travis Kelce jersey sales, to the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL. That is a rare, once-in-a-generation story. Beyonce and J-Lo and Britney Spears didn't do that, nor Madonna. Madonna was from Detroit. She's a Lions fan. She didn't change and blow up the NFL where everybody went out and bought a Lions jersey because of Madonna. Taylor Swift did that. Caitlyn Clark last night got everybody to root against LSU, which is kind of cool, and then pull for her. So how many girls now who are sitting in Delray Beach, Florida, or Green Valley, Nevada, or other places are like, Mom, Dad, I want a Caitlyn Clark jersey. I want to be a part of it. She moved the needle. That is pretty exceptional. Pigs Big 76, her shooting and passing is unreal. Clean handle, but lots of room to improve, especially on driving to the basket, a floater, a hook, or something mid-range. Yeah, she has to have something mid-range. And I think the same thing was said about Steph Curry. When Steph Curry played at Davidson, he could get to the rim, right? But the floaters he had to work on, mid-range. He didn't have a hook shot, but Steph was a three-point shooter, and pretty amazing there. So I really enjoyed watching that last night. I thought it was pretty amazing to see someone come in. But a bigger topic is, which I want to frame to you, is that the fact that Caitlyn Clark put down the NBA and Major League Baseball last night. No one watched baseball last night. Nobody. Unless you were gambling on the game. There's no Monday night baseball. There was no game of the week last night. If I told you who played last night in baseball, you probably wouldn't know, because Caitlyn Clark got a better rating than baseball players. Hockey players don't even bring that up. Compare what Caitlyn Clark delivered with the $7 million compared to a hockey broadcast. Give me a break. And then what she did to the NBA. And I'm big on the NBA, and the NBA is getting a lot of trash for obvious reasons. A lot of NBA fans are just going to start showing up now because it's the playoffs right around the corner, and they're going to watch it. But the NBA's got problems on their hands because more and more fans just don't feel like they have to watch it until the playoffs come around. And if you don't have to watch it until the playoffs come around, okay, but we all used to watch the NBA all the time. And now the NBA starts their season on Christmas Day, even though it starts a month and a half before that. Then they stop the season for this garbage play-in, or what was that tournament called again? Not the play-in tournament. That's at the end of the year. That banner that the Lakers won and played for. Someone help me out. What was that NBA called? The opening tournament that they had. That's how fried my brain is on the NBA. It was such a pathetic. The Lakers hung the banner for winning that in-season tournament that started off the year. And they put the Lakers hung that banner next to Kobe Bryant's banners, Wilt Chamberlain, and Jerry West. And now the Lakers are almost going to miss the playoffs. Lakers are going to get in, but the Lakers are the 9 seed, 10.5 games out, Warriors are the 10 seed. So you're going to see the Warriors and the Lakers play right out of the gate in an elimination opportunity. And one of those two teams are going to be out of the playoffs. And what happens if you're a Warrior or a Laker fan and you didn't watch for most of the year because you only want to watch during the playoffs and they don't go to the playoffs? The teams get eliminated or they get knocked out in the first round. So that's what I think is going to be really important. Zerbomsalot says, JT, what's your prediction for the Raiders' first draft pick this year? Too early to give you that. The draft's at the end of the month. I'll give that out in a week. No one cares what I think on the pick because I don't know the pick. But I think as of today, I'd say Michael Penix Jr. at 13 or right tackle at 13. I think they're going to try like hell to trade up and get to Jaden Daniels. And I don't think it's not going to be because they have a good offer. I just think that the Commanders and the Patriots are not going to want to give up that pick, and they're going to take Jaden Daniels. I mean, I know Tom Telesco is not going to offer 4 first-round picks for Jaden Daniels. I can promise you that. So if it has to be 3, would the Patriots give it up? Maybe. But we're going to see what happens. Everybody's just throwing out smoke now. It's the Jim Harbaugh smoke screen show today. He is the leader of all of this misdirection is Jim Harbaugh. Sean Payton would like to do that, but Sean Payton lost all the credibility that he's had, all of it, along the way, because he got rid of Russell Wilson. He doesn't have a quarterback now. And then in the AFC West, we got to deal with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs seem to be keeping their players like Chris Jones. And Snead, who ended up going over to the Titans, was a good loss for the Raiders because Kansas City lost a cornerback who's pretty good. So Snead ended up with the Titans. He claimed today, it's the lead story at ESPN.com, that nothing is wrong with his knees and he's good to go. He had other potential suitors, one of which was reportedly the Vikings, who backed off due to health concerns, but the Titans took him and he's fine being a Titan there. And the Titans are a team I think the Raiders are clearly better with on paper here, but the win totals, if the Raiders and the official win totals are going to come out when the schedule's released. When are you playing winter games? When are you playing holidays? When are you playing Thursday night? That's when the real win totals are coming out. But I talked to a sportsbook director who said Raiders 7. And BetMGM put something out that said 6.5. I think I'd take the over like I told you. I hope you saved me a Modelo after I told you to take the Raiders over last year and the Chargers under. I promise you I'll say that again this year. Leah Hacksaw Hamilton will join us next hour as we come back here on the flagship of the Raiders. Okay. All right, thanks, everyone. Again, we do the first hour on Zoom. When I get some guests here, it gets too complicated because you can't hear the guest, and everybody bitches about that. So we'll do the first hour. Just did a whole hour with nobody, basically a couple callers and you. Everybody in here helped out a lot. Can't believe it. So that's what it is. You get some rants, you get some monologues. Adam says, I haven't heard Hacksaw forever. Where you been? I have him on every 2-3 weeks. So as you know, you go to the Raiders mobile app. I think you all know that. Let me find it for you. They're the best app in sports radio. It really is. I'm not making this up. So there's the Raiders mobile app, and you see right here the radio. You just click on the radio. Raiders mobile app for free. Click on the radio and hear the show live. You hear the callers, the guests, and all of that. I'm going to the Golden Knights tonight, going to lunch with George Atkinson. We'll be back here tomorrow, maybe for a 2-hour live stream. Today was an hour. Thanks, and hit like, please, and pound subscribe, and please share it with your friends. Have a great day.